Welcome back to Game Changing Chat with your host, Zakiya. And we're still having a conversation about mental health and removing the stigma. We are joined today with the one and only Karan. Karan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Karan, she is a busy lady and she has accomplished so much in her career. She is a Army and Navy veteran. She's done produced podcasts. She's a journalist, a photographer. The list goes on. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Karan, for those who don't know more details about your background and why you are an expert in having a conversation about mental health, please share with us. Tell us, why are you the expert to talk
What
about this conversation?
I actually just had a really important milestone a few days ago. Was my 26th anniversary of going into the Navy. And when I went into service, I was 20 years old. So I was older than the majority of the girls who were there. Myself and my bunkmate were the eldest two. And it was in my 20s that I had my first experience with understanding firsthand what mental wellness was, what it looked like, and how it affected me. I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder when I was 22, I believe it was. At that time, I was having significant pressure in my life, dealing with being a service member, dealing with separation anxiety because I worked so much when I was in the Navy and just did not have the tools to be able to manage it. I didn't know what depression was. I didn't know what it was. Um, you know, because Black people didn't do that. So we didn't talk about it in our communities. We don't talk about it in the church. I was very heavy, um, very connected to ministry in many, many ways. And unfortunately, our faith covers for the work we don't do. So I made a commitment to myself and learned to do the work and to keep a support system around me and to let those who know and love me know that I require a different level of care. Now, I'm a little cuckoo, not in this context, but just on my own, just because I wake up in the morning. I'm a very lighthearted person. I love to laugh. I have an amazing big brain and know how to use it. But I am an expert in this area because I became an advocate for myself and then an advocate for others, seeking help and maintaining a support system for those who are in trouble and for others who just need a little maintenance and sometimes a hug.
Mm. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us. Can you walk us through a little bit what your transition from the military to civilian life looked like?
I'm still figuring that one out.
I understand that.
I am I am a disabled veteran. I'm 100% total and permanently disabled. My journey has been through the brokenness of my body injuries I sustained during service, and also with my mental wellness as well. So, civilian life was a very, very difficult thing for me initially. I do well with order. I do
Mm,
well with structure. And I gotten so accustomed to having structure and then re-entering civilian life, realized there isn't any. There were
nope.
very few places I could go or live and work, and there be structure. And I actually find freedom in that kind of, I find freedom in structure. I am able to work more efficiently. I'm able to manage my time and my energy a lot more efficiently when I have a structured base. So adjustment was really, really difficult for me. I also grieved the loss of a great many friends. Um, some of them got hurt, some of them just passed away, and not being able to get to and from different places. And then learning how to care for myself in a different way. Um, I was very much a workaholic, and work will cover a multitude of sins until it doesn't.
Yes.
So civilian life is it's been quite interesting, but I'm still learning to take better care of myself and learning to take care of create those structures that I need where I can flourish.
Speaking about creating things, I have been on quite a few Zoom calls with you, and usually in your office. I know you're not in your office space now, but you have these beautiful flowers behind you. So, is that one of the ways that you take care of yourself and escape by? Do you have a green thumb? Do you nourish your flowers? Tell us about that.
My mother has a green thumb. I'd say mine's a slight shade of brown. So I choose plants that are easy to care for. And I have a beautiful office garden. My daughter jokes and says that every time I leave the house, I come back with a plant. Okay, I can handle that. So my plants all have names. So I have two-piece lilies, two-piece lilies. They are thing one and thing two. Thing two has another nickname. We call thing two Big Boy because Big Boy is growing out this way. Like it's getting huge. So I have to keep making space for it. And then I have a prickly plant named Magenta. And then I have a white bird of paradise that's starting to grow free. She's starting to really blossom and she's going to be flowering soon. And then I have five orchids. I have five orchids. My orchids are, I have two purple orchids. That's Biggie and Tupac. And then I have white orchids that are Meghan and Harry. And then in celebration of little Archie's first birthday, I got a little tiny orchid that's a combination of those colors. So they all live together in a happy family. And then I have calla lilies. And then for Mother's Day, my daughter bought me a selection of succulents. So I have some more stuff to play with now. I'm obsessed, but I surround myself with beauty because it helps me recognize it in other places of the world. It is such an ugly place sometimes. And I needed to bring new life and new energy into my home, and it helps clean the air. So now that we're all sheltering in place and people are moving into phase one, you don't have to worry about me going nowhere. It brings so much life into my home, and to be surrounded by beauty you can cultivate, especially my peace lilies. I think I love the peace lilies the most because when they need water, their leaves turn down. And when you water them, they perk up. It's really gratifying.
Oh, okay, that's really nice. So I might try that. I have two plants, but I might try to think about extending plant my plant collection. Let's talk a little bit about
I call my
boundaries.
plants my my Plantanista divas are my plants. My
I
Plantanista
like that.
divas.
Okay.
I'm
Um,
mad.
I like it. I like it. Um, let's move and shift gears a little bit. And when we're talking about self care, um, let's talk about boundaries. People, you mentioned COVID-19. We're still figuring things out. A lot of people have lost loved ones. Many people are
Mhm.
unemployed. People are working from home remotely and still caring for their families, but they still have pressures to stay connected to friends and loved ones, and they're still getting things piled upon them. How do you create boundaries when people are asking you things, but your plate is full? What recommendations do you have for people to create healthy boundaries when you're maybe someone who have a problem saying no?
This is one of my favorite questions, and I'm going to tell you why. No is a complete sentence. It's a tool, and people need to learn to use it. Your life becomes so much sweeter when you set boundaries. Boundaries are not for everybody else. Boundaries are to protect yourself. Boundaries are how we protect ourselves, our emotional health, our physical health, and no one can do it for you. This is a decision. Having peace and balance in your life is a decision. So when you don't have boundaries, someone who lacks boundaries are people who get walked all over, people who end up in really risky, abusive, or dangerous relationships, people who don't recognize their own worth. And sometimes, you know, they're people who have never been told or been surrounded by love. They've never been told that they were worth anything more than their existence. I'm worthy because I woke up this morning. But it
Yes.
was important for me to learn how to set boundaries because I used to allow people to use my brain and my time and my energy. And at the end of the day, you'll be depleted and everybody else has what they need. And I'm not living like that anymore.
Oh, yes. Yes. That's powerful. And I know that's going to help someone. It helps me. And that goes next to my next question, support system. How do you ensure you have a healthy support system? Someone, when you know you're not feeling well, that text you get from someone maybe on a Friday saying, "Sister, you need a rest." A text that I may have gotten in a call I may have gotten last Friday saying, "No, Zakiya, you need to take time off and relax and listen to your body." How do you ensure you have a healthy support system like that?
I make sure the people I know and who I surround myself with understand what tired looks like for me, because I work a lot. I do a lot of production work. I'm able to work from home. I have been for a long time, but I will work to the point of exhaustion. So letting people know what fatigue looks like for me may not be the same as what it looks like for somebody else. I still look like the Energizer Bunny at the end of the day and shut off the camera and pass out. But I have
Hold on for one moment.
conserving my energy. Okay,
Oh, boy. Okay, there we are. I'm sorry.
you good?
Go ahead. Uh-huh.
So conserving my energy is very important. Letting the people that I surround myself with know what my energy levels are when I'm not okay. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to say no to work. It's okay to go lay your ass down. So, oh, excuse me, to go lay yourself down. Sometimes I need to have several seats because I will overdo it. And because of the health concerns I have, my immune system cannot take working at that level anymore. It will
Right.
wear you down. If you do not stop, your body will stop you, and that is not a good feeling.
Mhm. Absolutely. And I have the same type of concerns with my body will shut me down and my immune system. One of my things besides